Hello Airsoft friends, and welcome to this video today where we have another very special guest with me. This time we have Dan from Novritsch. Hello Dan.
Hi there.
Welcome, how are you today?
Oh yeah, fine. It's Friday, so I had to, I had the chance to leave a bit earlier from work, and now as you can see, I'm back home, and chill time started.
Hey, perfect. That's good, man. Like it's I was gonna say, yeah, you're definitely not in the office at the minute, but is it quite busy in the Novritsch offices at the moment with how everything that's going on?
No, it's like normal, like every day. Yeah, there's always always a kind of stress level or busyness level. Yeah, what we keep up. But yeah, of course, there's times where we have more time and it's a bit quieter. But yeah, you know,
I know how it is. It's
we
always the
we
same.
we never sleep basically.
That's fair. So we've already covered that you kind of like you work at Novritsch, and we actually started chatting towards the end of last year, kind of like mid towards the end of last year, probably closer to right towards the end of the year, really. So first of all, how long have you been at Novritsch for, and what is it that you actually do over there?
I'm there since now. Let me think. Since October, mid-October, I
Okay.
started. And I'm there for contacting and sending stuff to people like you. Yeah,
Hey.
influencers, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. The whole social media is, kind of my part there.
Just you wait now. All the comment section is going to be, Dan, can I have this, please? Can I have this, please?
So no,
yeah.
stop it.
Yeah, he already gets enough of that from me. Like most days, I'll be messaging him and go, "Hey, so I've just been on the website and I've seen this now. Is there any chance you could just like pop this in a box for me?" But I don't think I'm that bad. Am I bad?
No.
Tell me.
No, you're the regular YouTube guy.
Okay.
In this case.
I don't know if that's a bad thing or not. Like there's
it's not.
potentially
It's-
some connotations there.
No, I don't want it to sound like in any way negative. It's
Okay.
just, it's the regular regular
average.
business.
Okay.
Yeah. You're average.
I'll take that. As long as I'm not like, on the worse end of the spectrum, then that's okay.
No,
I'm
definitely.
happy with that.
Perfect.
So with Novritsch, of course, like, from the ground up, it's an airsoft company. Everything they do is airsoft. So have you played much airsoft before joining the team?
Actually a lot. I started playing airsoft with 14, 15 years.
Oh, okay.
Kind of.
Wow.
Yeah, it was my dad who brought me to airsoft.
Oh, that's cool. Did you like still play much together these days, or?
No, because I'm from, like, when you see Austria, I'm from down south. Let's say so. Yeah, it's Carinthia. So my dad and I were split up by 360 kilometers around. So there's not much time to play airsoft together.
Oh, that's a pain. It's not like you can just like go down the road and have a couple of games together. It's a fair old 360k. That's a fair old way to go.
Absolutely, but it's my dad is getting 60, so there's a good chance he will just like break a leg or something maybe in the game.
I mean, you say that, but I don't know if it's the same over there, but definitely in the UK, there's a lot of like, old dogs out there that are like, playing the field and cracking shots and things. I saw a funny Facebook post a while ago, which was the older you get, the smaller your ball gets that you play with. So it kind of like goes from like footballs and rugby balls, and then down to like tennis and squash, and then it's like eventually you get to BBs. So I feel like there is this like kind of the older you get, the more kind of inviting it kind of is, and that's the good thing with airsoft. If you're like a young pup and you can run around a lot, then you can be like an entry fragger and run around a ton. But if you're a bit older and slower, you just grab yourself like a sniper or a DMR and you can sit towards the back of the field and still have a really good time.
Or using an LMG and just spray the whole field, and that's it.
Yeah, that's that too. I mean that is actually something common. Like I've seen not quite a few. I've seen probably like 3 or 4 older dudes who have got the like the miniguns, like the electric miniguns that are just like spraying things everywhere, and they'll get through like 6k BBs in a single game, like in a half-hour game. I'm like, did you ever take your finger off the trigger? Like that's absolutely insane how much they get through. But I'm sure one day it'd be nice.
Yeah, but like you said, I think it's a lot of fun. to use those type of LMGs. I would use them one day, of course, for myself too, because I just want to have like one game where I just get in there like a juggernaut and be like, okay, fuck you. Yeah.
Oh mate, I feel like the day that we all kind of get to the point where we're like, let's get an LMG, is going to be a really good day. I'm looking forward to that now. So you actually do a lot of work directly with Joseph. He's come on the channel before. We've had a chat to him, and I actually started. It was through like the talking about the SSG 96, if I remember correctly, that I spoke to him a little bit on Facebook, and he then put me in touch with you. On the social media, him and Chris seem to always be running around a bit like children. Is that something which is like an everyday occurrence? Like, are you just like busy working hard, and then all of a sudden, you know, like Joseph and Chris would like run past you or be on like the hoverboard and like shooting at each other, or are they a bit more professional, for lack of a better word?
They are way more professional than it looks in the stories.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, there's those times, of course, where we just like get together, think about some bullshit, and like, hey, what funny shit can we do today? We have a hoverboard, we have a bazooka. How can those two get like together in the video? Let's think about it. And then there's stuff like this happening. What you see in the stories on Instagram.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I think for your sake, it's a good thing that they're pretty like pro and chill all the time. Because I mean, if they're running around constantly like shooting each other, or even like playing with the toy little mini rifles that you've got like around the place, which are really sick, by the way.
They're awesome. Yeah, they're really good.
Because you've got the 50 cal, you got a little 50 cal one, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. My favorite one. I always want to shoot the real one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I started with
you'll get bigger over time. That's the thing. Like you'll start off there, and then eventually
get used to the small one, and then I will like step it up a little bit.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about getting a 50 cal airsoft and then playing with that?
Not really.
Okay,
not really.
Interesting. I would have thought that would have been your next thing on your list to have kind of like gone for.
No, I'm not really the sniper in Airsoft.
Okay.
I'm more the CQB assault guy. So my favorite one is like more the AR-15 platform.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
cool.
mostly what I use. Yeah, and pistols, of course.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair. I mean, you've played Airsoft for like a super long time, so I imagine there's been a ton of different riffs that you've used. But you also played quite a bit of Airsoft, or you still play paintball, sorry, and you still play quite a bit of paintball, don't you?
Right now, not.
I
played paintball for I think around a year.
Yeah,
something like that. But it was fun. It was really fun. It's kind of the same, but not really. Yeah. There's a lot of differences for those two sports, and also, of course, you have a lot of similarities. Yeah, but it was really funny.
Okay, like what do you think mainly differentiates Airsoft to paintball? Because of course you got like projectile mag capacity, to some extent like the kind of like appearance of the riff, although you can get more realistic looking Airsoft rifles now as well, and you can get mag fed too, and I guess it's potentially more realistic because the mag capacity, you can't just have like a 300 round high cap like in paintball with the mag fed stuff. It's probably less than a real live magazine due to the paintballs being quite a bit bigger anyway. But what would you say is the main what are the main differences in your opinion between Airsoft and paintball?
It comes down to if you like compare the competition side of paintball.
Okay.
And this, like you said, the mag fed like part of it. The mag fed is pretty similar to the Airsoft style. They all have they are fully geared up. They come with like a lot of headphone, helmet, plate carrier, everything. Yeah, they really look like the Airsoft guys.
Yeah. And
they also play like really. At least they try. Most of the time they try to really play tactical.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, we have that in Airsoft too. I think I said with Sniper Jacko, when you go to a site, you'll see like the first time you go, it's always a bit unnerving because there's people who are dressed to the teeth in like full-on military gear, like full-on camo plate carriers, you know, radios and things like that. And then when you get into the field, there's quite headless chickeny, and it's the casual guy in a t-shirt that's just kind of like running around with like a belt with, you know, a few mags and a grenade in, and he's the guy who like knows his shit and is like going ham. So it's good to know that that's similar in paintball too.
Yeah, and then of course you have the competition side of paintball. This is a really fast pace. There's like rushing to the cover, sliding in, get their shots, get to the other side. So it's really, really kind of fast and aggressive way to play. And it doesn't occur to me in the regular Airsoft games. It's more maybe when you say what's
like
it called?
Speedsoft.
Speedsoft, thanks.
Yeah.
The Speedsoft is more like this. You can compare this like to the competition version of paintball.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. I guess that like I've not watched a lot of Speedsoft just because it's not something which personally for me I'm that interested in, just because my fitness level isn't anywhere near what I would need it to be to partake. Like if I was like, you know, able to go ham and my stamina was amazing, then, you know, I'd be well down for it and like really, really want to play it. But because I'm, you know, quite slow and my stamina's never really been good, for some reason I decided to do cross country when I was younger, and it was the worst experience of my life. Like that taught me I'm not built for like long distances, you know. But it's really like some of the stuff is really cool, and I feel like it's but like paintball, maybe Speedsoft came along after paintball, and maybe there's a transition that's going on, because I don't know whether like it's tricky. Like, I can see why there's interest in paintball, like, don't get me wrong, but I feel like Airsoft is just a bit more like manageable, if that makes sense, because it's all a bit more condensed, and you don't have to be as worried about, you know, like having a big old gas tank or something on the end of your gun. Like, you can just pop a battery in and you've got a real like life-size mag, and you can get like tiny mags with tons of rounds in. So I feel like, you know, Airsoft is just the best of everything, apart from the fact that there's no visual indicator on people, if that makes sense, because that's a real benefit of paintball, even though some sneaky people will still just kind of like wipe the paint off themselves.
Yeah, because you mentioned it, this is the point where I stopped playing paintball.
Okay.
Because of this paint. Of course, some colors you can get rid of them pretty easy, but some, they really stick there.
Yeah.
And even when you wash your clothes, there's like kind of shadows stay there, and you see this like sprinkles and everything on there.
Yeah.
So it kind of messes up the whole thing, and especially like live in game when you get hit on the mask and you need to wipe it. Sometimes your cloth is just like so full of color that you wipe and it looks like milk glass, and you just make it more worse and worse the more you just wipe.
Yeah.
And then you get the second hit on the other side, and it's like, fuck.
It's just a nightmare. Oh.
Yeah, that's the point what really like upsets me. Like nearly every game, the game was fun. The people were nice. The community is awesome.
Yeah,
everything's really cool. But this was just a point, just for me. Yeah, it's subjectively seen. But yeah, for some other like you say, this is cool because I can now see where the hit is going, and he cannot cheat. Yeah, so yeah, of course that's plus and minus.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, like with on the foot area, I've played at a couple of Airsoft sites which have been a lot of Airsoft sites, to be fair, these days are paintball and Airsoft. But I remember I went to one site in particular, Bunker 51, which is all indoors, all CQB, and it's both paintball and Airsoft. And I've only played there once, and there's a reason why I've only played there once, is that it is the slipperiest bloody place I have ever played at, and it's just because there's paint all over the floor and it just doesn't seem to dry at all. So even though I had like my proper like kind of like combat boots on, I was still sliding over, falling over, and I felt like my movement was hindered because I couldn't really go quickly. And if I was going to go somewhere, I either needed to make sure that I was going to like run and then like go into a wall, so the wall stopped all of my momentum so I didn't fall over, or I needed to plan to run into there and then slide, or know that I'm going to kind of go on the floor, because I just couldn't stay vertical. Like, is that a common issue as well that you'd experience when playing paintball, to an extent which would just make you really frustrated playing it?
Just one time, and it was also an indoor hall.
Okay.
The problem is, you go there. I mean, we played paintball there, but also for the paintball players, it's really annoying when you have a place that looks like really used. So you have this like walls with centimeters of color and paintballs stuck on there. So you could like take a shovel and get it from the wall up. The whole floor is full with like old paintballs. So you just like, you need to be really careful where you go, because everything you touch, you get color on your gloves, on everything. It's just like a mess. Yeah.
Oh, that's a pain, man. Like, I feel like it's that's one of the main downsides with paintball. Of course, with airsoft, you know, you do get BBs on the floor, you do get like fragmented BBs, but because there's none of this, you know, liquid everywhere, like the little shelly bits aren't really an issue. But you know, like you said, it stains your clothes. It leaves a lot of residue on the you know, like the play areas, and also like it's so slippy, especially in the indoor kind of areas, because there's just nowhere for like the paint to absorb into, so it just stays on the floor, and it's so slippy, man.
Yeah, that's the good point on like open fields that they are really outside.
Yeah,
there's rain, there's the weather, everything. There's like the nature just kind of gets rid of a lot of it. Yeah, so it's way more cleaner, let's say so. Yeah, even when a paintball field is never really clean. But
that's fair. I mean, you play paintball for like a year, and you've been playing airsoft for 14 or so. You're still active playing airsoft. It's easy to see that you definitely prefer airsoft over paintball. What's the main things about airsoft that you really enjoy, that like keeps you coming back for more?
First of all, it's the not getting full with color.
Yeah.
No, just joking. But no, it's. I think I had just more fun, kind of in the airsoft games. They're more tactical. There's more. Just, I mean, I can just like talk about the games I played in.
Yeah.
And we had great teams always. They were like communicating the proper ways, and you had like teams split up, and they did all the missions, and it was just like a live Call of Duty or Battlefield, let's say Battlefield game. Call of Duty is a bit different. Like that. This is what I like, and the realism from the guns. I just love to have, like I said, like a L96 or some AR-15 platforms there, or Vita PPQ, or some you just have the real looking version of a gun.
Okay,
that's
cool.
That's the point that drives, like, that's what I might like the most.
The realism is the more. I
mean,
like you did say, there was people who play paintball. They do have all the kit, and you can like get the realistic kind of like mag-fed stuff. I know there's like First Strike paintballs you can get too that are they're better range, but like what would you say, like the difference would the difference in range be a big factor for you as well, in why you would prefer to do airsoft over paintball?
I mean, with the First Strikes, it's a completely different topic, because the regular paintball, some of them are flying really good, but you always have to use kind of the what is called the trajectory, and you need to aim a little bit higher when you need to get a shot like far away or something. You need to play with the drop. With the First Strikes, you have a drop also, of course, but this is I hit shots with First Strikes on easy shots, really, on 70, 80 meters. Once a time, we were just playing around, and we put a GoPro on around 70 meters away on a building.
Yeah.
And we were laying down on some, it was some like big container or something, like a metal container where they use for shipping. And I just, like, with the fourth or fifth shot, I was able to shot the GoPro down on like around 70 to 80 meters.
Okay, that's cool. So the range is still pretty good then.
Yeah, absolutely. The range is really good. You can really easily shoot on 110 meters. No problem. Depends on the gun, of course. Yeah.
Interesting. I guess that the paintballs, they're less affected by wind as well because they're a much heavier projectile
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
BBs. So you can kind of, it's going to carry that power further. What's the Joule limits actually like in paintball? Because the projectiles are a lot larger and a lot heavier, you'd expect that the Joule power that they're going to have is going to be quite a bit more than in Airsoft.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely a higher Joule versions out there, but we also played with 11 Joule pistols. It depends on the field. The field can decide if they're gonna let you play with those guns or not. We also had double-barreled shotguns with 16 joules or more. So I think most fields, they will be around, what is it? It's more like an FPS limit.
Oh, okay. Since I raised it up, because I was like, I'm so curious about what the limits are. So in the UK, like Airsoft, our Joule limit for a sniper for a regular rifle is 350 FPS on a .2, which I think is equivalent to what, 1.23 joules, something like that. For a sniper rifle, it's 2.33 joules or 2.3 joules. Whereas for paintball, the typical paintball weighs about 3 grams, so that's what, 5 that's 15 times heavier than the standard Airsoft BB. And their Joule limit is 12.5 joules.
Yeah, but I mean, I can just talk about the fields here in Austria. We had the FPS limit of 300 FPS.
Wow. Okay. So you could have I guess the projectiles in paintball, they're not really gonna. Can you get different weights? Can you actively go, I want the heavier paintball, or is it just it's got the shell, it's got the liquid inside, and then boom, that's your projectile.
Kind of. There's just different sizes. There's the 43s, there's 50 cal, and the 68.
Okay, fair. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, yeah. Like I said, when you stay on the you can really nail the 300 FPS, and it's okay.
Yeah, that's mad. Would you say that paintball? I mean, looking at the Joule limit, I feel like it's an obvious answer. But does paintball, would you say, hurt more, a lot more, or a ton more than Airsoft?
When we just talk about regular paintballs, like the gel liquid balls, I would say it's kind of the same. It's just a different pain level. No, not pain level. A different way of
pain. A sensation almost.
Yeah, I think the Airsoft is more like a sting.
Yeah.
And the paintball it burns more. It's like a slap.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's it's more energy, but it's dispersed over a wider area. So it's more...
Yeah.
Because, I mean, some of you'll see people who get, headshot or shot in their arm. I've had it, on my legs quite a bit, where I've been shot with a BB, and you have, the little kind of, impact point, and then you'll have, a decent-sized bruise around it. But then with a paintball, you'll see, the middle bit, there's, a middle circle, which is kind of a little bit bruised. And then there's a ring, usually, a bloody ring, where the edge of the paintball was, and then just a massive bruise coming out from the rest of it as well. So it does really seem that there's a ton more power and pain from paintballs, which kind of makes me a little bit how can there be such a huge difference in joulage, and when that's the kind of the injury you can get from paintball, and we're our Joule limits for Airsoft are tiny compared to what the paintball ones are. So should we be complaining that much about current injuries and pain thresholds and stuff?
I don't think so. I think it's like I said, I played both worlds, and for me it was kind of the same.
Yeah.
It's just just a different way of feeling it. But it's not really that I could say this hurts more than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you play with first strikes, it's a different story.
Oh, okay. Is that a lot more? Because they have so for people who don't know what the first strike type of paintball is, can you just give a bit of an explanation as to what a first strike is and how they differ to a regular paintball?
Yeah, it's first of all, it's not this gel cover. It's more plastic. You could say, let's say, just say plastic. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a plastic cover. It's more like a half ball, and then on the other side you have kind of extrusion to it with a twist. So the bullet gets like when it leaves the barrel, it like what do you say?
It's like the
kind of
riflings.
turning around on. Yeah, it's kind of rifle. Yeah, it's kind of rifling.
Cool. Okay, and those just because they've got a different material, because they're not just like the thin shell, they're more of a plastic kind of hit. It's more like you're getting hit by a large BB with a bit of fluid inside of it instead of like just getting hit by a paintball.
They hurt a lot, especially on close proximity when a sniper hits you with those on the mask.
Yeah.
I had it one time. I got hit on the right side, and my left ear was really ringing.
Wow.
For a minute or so. Yeah. So this was like, fuck. What the shit would hit me right now? Yeah. It was like a stone.
Yeah. Oh, that's insane. Oh, see, that's the stuff that I'd like to give like MagFed First Strike Paintball a go, just to see what that is. To see what that's like, because I feel like that's going to be the one which is going to be most performant, like Airsoft, in terms of like range and you know how the projectile flies. But it's like 15p per paintball then, isn't it? Something like that, like 10p, 15p.
In Austria we had, I can say, how much was it? When I bought 250 shots, or was it less? No, 150. Sorry, 150 shots was around 70 euros.
Wow. Okay.
60 or 70 euros for 150 shots.
Wow. So that's like, let's say 55 pounds for 100 shots. That's insane. That's so much more expensive than. But I guess if you're doing MagFed, you're shooting less, so it'll make you be much more careful with your shots. Really. I mean, I thought 0.48 gram BBs were expensive, but nah, this is like another level.
Yeah, but like you said, you just stay there. You're not really spamming. Yeah, you really wait till you are sure you'll be hitting that guy.
Yeah. Okay. Apart from the speed the speed players who are just like pop 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 constantly.
Yeah, sure. They used regular paintballs and they just like.
Yeah, that's insane. That's so bad. Like I think it's no secret that we've got like Airsoft and paintballers have like a fun rivalry between each other. Like I know it's quite common in Airsoft for people to have patches and T-shirts and stuff saying like Airsoft because even paintballers need heroes and things like that. But what do paintballers say anything about Airsofters though? Like, do you know what they say on the other side of things?
Oh yeah, of course. There is jokes. They are flowing around. Like we call them in German. Kind of. It said like Erbsenspucker. It means like peace spitter.
Oh okay. Oh yeah, like pea shooters. I think we say in the UK.
Pea shooters. Yeah.
Oh okay, fair enough.
There's joking around, but on my experience on the field, there was no real rivalry between those two. They were like, I know people on paintball, I know people from Airsoft, and they're just making fun and everybody's laughing and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think that's the best way to do it. Sure, we can make fun of each other, in some like in a good way and a funny way, because both sports, I mean, they're so similar. Yeah, it's just like tiny bits they differentiate both from each other.
It's like fun, healthy banter between the sport. Like if there was to be something like where what's going on in Canada at the minute with like Bill C-21, if something like that was to happen, then immediately I feel like all of the airsofters and paintballers would come together to try and help out and stop this stuff from happening. But like apart from that, we're just having a bit of a giggle with each other, which I think is quite fun.
That's it. That's how it should be, and I think most of the paintballers will also be like supporting the airsoft community when they get like really in trouble, like in Canada.
Yeah.
I think they will also be like there and say, hey, they should like not ban it because this is a hobby. This is cool. It's a cool sport. We should like try to keep it up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. I think that's true. Like we all come together. We're one big family at the end of the day who like to do a
That's it.
extreme sport with, pretend guns. So, we all kind of need to work together with some things.
Absolutely.
With us kind of like being like coming together to try and like protect our sports and things like that. I saw a while ago that you can actually get like 6mm like paint filled BBs. So it's kind of like paintballs that are like super tiny, but they do have paint in as well. Kind of similar to the ones that have a bit of like explosive in them and they go bang. But do you think
Yeah.
that like paint filled BBs could potentially be a future of either sport, like a new form of paintball comes out which is focused on using those, or potentially in Airsoft you could get fields coming up where they're like, yeah, cool, we're gonna have like a paint filled BB day or something.
Paintfield PV Day. No, it's like more. I would compare it to. There's this 43 size in paintball,
Oh, okay.
and most of the time they just suck. They break. Yeah, they break in the magazine. You fill your magazine. You
Yeah.
take your pistol. You slam it in, and in that second, like 3 or 4 balls are already broken in there.
Wow.
So
Okay. Is that quite
and
a least? Is that would you say the least popular version of paintball that there is out there? Then.
the regular, like let's say gel version, yes, but there's also a powder ball version
Oh,
with
okay.
like plastic cover
Yeah.
and powder in there.
Interesting.
I think they use those versions a lot for like law enforcement training and stuff like this because
Okay. Less
it's just
messy.
like dry baby powder in there, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, they work pretty good. But I think no, I mean, no, I cannot say no for the future. Yeah, but you never know what will be there.
Very true.
But for now, like in my experience, this paint-filled BBs, they break. Like you look at them and they break, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. No, that's fair. Like I've been like curious about that as well, but I kind of feel like with the forces that are put on something that small, the shell of it's going to need to be thick enough that you're not really going to be able to get much paint in anyway. And then
That's it.
I imagine that the weight of them is probably going to be lighter than what we want to use as a BB ammo as well, which is another consideration to take into account. So, yeah, okay. Like, well, with that being said, do you think there's anything that Airsoft could learn from paintball in like terms of like, either how games are played or the way it operates or what kind of like kit or tech is available to it?
I think in the tech part
Okay.
would be the most things to learn, because when you look at paintball guns, they're, like I said, they're not meant to look like real guns. They're just built for their purpose. They're built to work.
Yeah.
And maybe we should or could do something like this in the future.
Okay.
Like getting airsoft guns maybe a little bit off from this like real steel looking versions and get them more into the paintball direction,
Yeah.
where they just like kind of look like a gun, but like built more to just work.
Yeah.
To just perfectly work for the purpose they're used to.
That's interesting. Like, because I guess like guns have got, just like real steel guns, they've got like a history of being designed and made for their specific purpose. So they, you can load in magazines and you can fire off rounds, and they've got like their gas recoil systems and like recoil buffer tubes and things like that to try and account for that. But it's interesting that you say that potentially that design, even though it, like the M4 for example and the AK are arguably the most optimal designs for real steel firearms, but they may not be the most optimal designs for Airsoft. And I guess we've got like an example of that already, where I think is it ASG? No, there's a company that made it's the SSG-01, which is like an M4, but it's got the extended down. It's not one of your guns. It's got the extended trigger guard that comes down, the extended trigger, and it's also got the angled buffer tube on the stock. So it's been made specifically for like speed softers, where they're wearing like a mask and they can really have the gun angled up, the stock down here, and things like that, and they can go quick. Like that's something which is, you know, the company. I think it may be G&G. I'm not too sure. I think it is the G&G SSG01.
I think it was G&G.
Yeah.
I saw a video somewhere. But yeah, that's the way I was like thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, just try to get around some issues, and maybe is there a way to really build the perfect airsoft gun. I mean, they should not look like completely bad, yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe we can do like a bit of both worlds there.
Yeah. That would be really interesting. Like if you, like for example, if you walked in on Monday and you were just like, "Hey guys, why don't we build a brand new airsoft gun that's just optimal for playing airsoft?" I feel like people would be like,
Yeah. So
why have we not done that before? Like it's like the thought of that is kind of blowing my mind a little bit. The fact that, you know, because we all like the fact that we can use, you know, toy real steel guns, because we see them on TV, film, games, and we have that kind of association with it. And anything that's like, you know, a fresh design or something new or something random, it doesn't really get as much airtime because, you know, it's not a real gun, it's not existing, it's not something that we've been exposed to that we may, you know, want to use. But yeah, if there was something out there that was, you know, super optimized purely just for airsoft, I wonder what that would look like. I feel like this is one for chat as well. So if you're watching the video, of course, well, if you're watching the video, everybody watching the video, put in chat, like, what you think that could be, what that could look like. Because I kind of, on one hand, I'm like, the real steel is optimal for real steel, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's optimal for airsoft. Like, I guess you could say that with magazines, like, making them, you know, have, like, 300 rounds in there, that's optimizing the magazine itself to be used for airsoft. But it's not necessarily optimizing the rest of the gun, or there's probably optimizations that could be done there to make it more optimal for airsoft. Because yeah, like you say, like paintball kind of started more with making markers that did the job for them. It was literally a grip, a tube, the hopper on the top, then the gas tank in the bottom, and that was like, hey, cool. And then they've, you know, they then modified real, or they took real designs and try and made that work with it. But they ended up adding a lot of cack, for lack of a better word, which is unnecessary just for the aesthetic. So yeah, maybe the G&G SSG01 is like, you know, more looking towards the future then, and doing modifications to either real guns or making something that's just completely weird, but super optimal for airsoft. I really wonder what that would look like. Oh my days.
And I really would wanted to see like what the people would think then, because they're used to have like real versions in airsoft from real guns.
Yeah.
And then there's suddenly like something that is not a familiar like look, and you just be there like, okay, is this an MP5 or is this?
Yeah.
What is this? Yeah.
Yeah, you try and like line it up with something that you recognize. That's interesting. You should have a chat with Joseph on Monday, because he's like Mr. Social Media man, and get him to do like a competition for people to design an airsoft optimized gun and see what people come up with.
Would be cool to see.
That would be cool to see. Seriously, I'm so curious. Like, genuine, do that. That would be. I'm so curious to see what that would be. I feel like that would kind of get people thinking, because I've never thought about, oh, it's not optimized for airsoft, and that will probably get other people being like, oh yeah, it's not. And it'd be so interesting to see what designs would come up. I feel like people would design like a load of P90 type things, because ideally for it's going to be like bullpup. I think bullpup is going to be a way, but like a forward magazine fed bullpup, like that's If it really, like a P90 kind of almost seems like the most optimal airsoft gun, because it's bullpup with a large mag and it's got a super long barrel, so you could easily have like a DMR snipey bullpup. Like P90, that's got. But I think so curious.
But I think the people will like really stay a lot. Like 80% will look like a real gun.
Yeah.
I think the people don't want to like get completely rid of it.
Yeah.
So they will stay in this kind of in the like close proximity of real gun looks.
Sure. Yeah. I think so too. I genuinely think so too. But there probably maybe some people out there who. Because, I mean, even, like, when you look at guns, like, films like Alien and stuff, like, the guns are so big and bulky, there's so much stuff, and Gears of War as well, there's so much extra stuff in there, which makes it not optimal as a gun, but it just looks cool. But if you were trying to strip everything back and purely only have it as a functional airsoft riff, I genuinely have no idea what it would look like. That's such a mind-blowing thought.
Would look like this. Where's this one, like the DIY build?
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
bottle, but the bottle and the air
Yeah.
pressure. And
Seriously, that
Kinda
could
like
be
that.
that could really be something, you know, because you essentially want to have something which holds like maybe there would be some kind of like vacuum or air pressure fed magazine that was like integrated into the gun. So you'd kind of like, I don't know, HPA up the inside of it, but maybe, and that would purely be to feed the magazine, and then they'd have like an electronic gearbox in there, and it kind of uses the best of both worlds. So then you could have like, I don't know, 1,000 rounds integrated into the riff, because you're probably not going to get through, or you know, however many rounds you would kind of like need. If it's a vacuum fed kind of mag, then you'd be kind of set. But that's the kind of thing where I feel like there's a real market for something perfectly designed for your airsoft usage. That would be insane. Like maybe the motor, like maybe there's 2 electric motors and one of them is driving a vacuum that's feeding the BBs through into the system. Like stuff like that. That would be insane. Yeah. Do run the competition. I'm so curious to see what people do. Oh.
I see. I started you there. I absolutely started you there.
You
It's
did,
like,
man.
Okay, what?
I feel like 10 minutes of this video is just me being all like hyped and like mind blown about the fact that, you know, we don't have, like, you know, people aren't making optimized guns for airsoft. It's just real steel conversions. It's so interesting.
It's like this gif where he's like,
really, like, I feel like that. God, that's mad. Oh, dude. Oh, mate, I could be mind blown about that for hours, but I'm gonna cut that off there. That is all the time that we've got for today.
Perfect.
But thank you so much for coming on, dude. It's been yeah. I feel like the
pleasure.
whole
It's an
evening
honor.
I'm just gonna be like, what would that be? Like, it's so interesting. Oh.
You can make drawings and send it to me.
Oh, my drawings would be absolutely it would be like a 3-year-old did them. But yeah, get that's so interesting though. Get Joseph to do that on social. I'd love to see what people did. And make sure, you know, it's not in a what you design our next gun kind of thing. Although people,
No,
you know,
just
you could
like,
get a
hey.
good design, man. You could get a really good one, and then, you know, hey, you could then do the future of airsoft with that. But you know, that's you to decide. So yeah, thanks again for coming on, man. Is there any last things anything you'd like to say to people before we end it here today?
Just thanks for watching. Thanks for having me on the podcast, and it's always a pleasure to talk with you, man.
Aw.
Your channel is growing. It looks awesome. Your content is like, I just love watching your videos. And it's not just like not just me. Yeah, it's also Joseph and Chris. We're all behind you, and you do a great job.
Oh, stop it, you! I'm already a big fan of you. You don't have to schmooze me, but I do enjoy it. I'll accept like that's the perfect amount, actually. So yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Like, the channel is growing,
I stop it there.
Man, I'm so happy about that. Like, we're getting so many more viewers, people coming in. Although YouTube is fighting me at the minute. Like, I put live a video yesterday, which they age restricted for no reason. So when it went live, it's like, I mean, it only got like 100 views, which is like madness. It's like, it's tiny compared to what it should have been. And even now, I monetized my channel in February, and now I've turned all of the monetization off for future videos going forward, because YouTube just like, if they put limited ads on a video, they just kill it. So I'm just like, there's no point, which is insane, because they're not pushing videos which they can then potentially earn money on, which is just insane to me. So now I don't do any monetization on YouTube, because it's more important to, you know, grow the channel and actually get videos viewed, as opposed to, you know, YouTube killing them. So hopefully it doesn't do the same to this. Although my last podcast I did with Sniper Jacko, YouTube were like, this is inappropriate content, so you're limited. And I was like, why? We're literally just sat talking. There's no guns in frame or anything like that. We're just talking about a sport. And it's YouTube is a bit ridiculous in that way. But anyway, I need if I carry on, I'm going to keep going for ages. So yeah, thank you very much for coming on. thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. Also, huge shout out to all of my Patreon people. You are awesome. You're keeping the lights on and food in my belly, which is important because I need that to live. So thank you very much. And yeah, that's it for this video. So thank you again, Daniel. Thank you all for watching.
My pleasure.
Remember to call your hits, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.